fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people, and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed and becoming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Votes and Proceedings, 23rd July. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. In the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of 23rd July are hereby admitted as true record of the proceedings. There are official reports. Official report 13th July. Any corrections? Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the report of 13th July is hereby admitted as true record. 14th July. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the official report of 14th July is hereby a true record of proceedings. Official report 15th July. Any corrections? There is. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the official report of 15th July is hereby admitted as true record of the proceedings. Item listed 3, business statement. Chair Business Committee, Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee met yesterday, the 23rd of July 2020, and arranged business of the House for the 11th week, ending Friday, the 31st of July 2020. The committee accordingly submits its report as follows. Speaker, you may read any available communication to the House. The Business Committee has scheduled the following ministers to respond to questions asked of them during the week. The Minister for the Interior, 1 question. The Minister for Roads and Highways, 3 questions. The Minister for Aviation, 1 question. The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, 2 questions. The Minister for Special Development Initiatives, 1 question. The Minister for Communications, 4 questions, and the Minister for Education, 7 questions. In total, there are 20. The Speaker, 8 ministers programmed to attend to the House to respond to 20 questions, as I've said. And the question, the following Types. There are 3 urgent questions and 17 oral questions. Speaker, pursuant to Order 70 sub 2, ministers of state may be permitted to make statements of government policy. And statements duly admitted by you, Right Honourable Speaker, may be made in the House by members in accordance with Order 72. Speaker, bills may be presented to the House for first reading in Order 120. However, those of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in accordance with Order 119. Pursuant to Order 75, papers for presentation to the House may be placed on the order paper following. Committee reports may also be presented to the House for consideration. Speaker, the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill 2020 is expected to be taken through the various stages of passage during the last week of this meeting, that is 3rd to 10th of August 2020. Honourable members are encouraged to avail themselves to the consideration of the bill, which is expected to overhaul the security and intelligence sector of the country. The Speaker, motions may be their consequential resolutions if any taken during the week. Honourable Speaker, debate to approve the mid-year review of the budget statement and economic policy of government of Ghana and the supplementary estimate for the 2020 financial year is expected to commence on Monday, the 2nd July 2020 and conclude on Tuesday, the 28th of July 2020. The Speaker, as I indicated yesterday, if there's not enough space, the minority leader and the majority leader would wind up on Wednesday. But if there is adequate space, we could do so on Tuesday. The Speaker, the House is scheduled to sit on Monday, the 27th of July, 2020. Furthermore, the House may extend sittings, but the House shall have to extend sittings beyond 2 p.m. as stipulated in Order 42 to enable the completion of the scheduled business for each day of the week under consideration. Speaker, there are some outstanding bills that we necessarily have to deal with, and that has occasioned the resort to extend the sittings beginning Monday. The Speaker, we have been having extended sittings the past 2 weeks, but indeed next week we will have to travel a bit late into the day on each of the days. The Speaker, the country is expected to observe 2 public holidays. That is the Eid al-Adha on Friday, 31st of July 2020, and the Founders' Day on Tuesday, the 4th of August 2020. The 2 holidays would affect the calendar of the House, particularly into legislative instruments which are anticipated to come into force before adjournment sine die. In view of these developments, the Business Committee recommends that the House adjourn sine die on Monday, the 10th of August 20, instead of the earlier scheduled date of Friday, August 2020, since adjourning it will not enable the maturity of the instruments. The Speaker, we had some initial discussions on this, the minority leader and myself, and we thought that we could take the adjournment on Saturday, that is the 8th. Unfortunately, there are major events slated for that Saturday. Accordingly, we decided to shift the date of adjournment to Monday, the 10th of August. The Speaker, Friday 31st is expected to be the day of the Eid al-Adha, a statutory public holiday, and would be observed as such. In accordance with 160 sub 2 and subject to Standard Order 53, the committee submits to this Honourable House the order in which the business of the House shall be transacted during the week under consideration. Speaker, the House, as I said earlier, is expected to debate the motion and take it through other stages for approval in the course of the week. The Speaker, the day-to-day arrangements of the business is set out on the draft statements, and I don't intend to read them, except to plead with the Hansa Department to capture all that is stated in the draft statement as having into the Hansa. The Speaker so submit.
Thank you very much, House Leader. Madam Miss, any comments, please? Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have some few comments to make that relates to some ministers or ministries. With regards to the questions filed, ministers will appear and answer questions. But Mr. Speaker, my worry is that I realize most of these questions that were answered, particularly what I even found, all I know was that when funds are made available, I'm talking about the Ministry of Power, the Ministry of Communication, and the Ministry of Roads and Highways. In the particular case, Ministry of Communication, that has to do with the network interference between Burkina Faso and Ghana, for that matter, my constituency, Lambuse. Mr. Speaker, I was given a deadline, 2018, that by September, all those issues will be resolved. As I speak to you, Mr. Speaker, nothing has been done. Mr. Speaker, in the case of the roads, feeder roads, last week,
No. You are clearly going off tangent. Any other comment? That is a point for the record. It doesn't exist. Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
Just to reiterate the point made by the leader of government business, we didn't anticipate the August 4th holiday and Eid al-Adha in our permutations on the instruments that were laid. Therefore, we may have to have additional days, which would mean that rising on the 8th may be problematic. My only issue that I want us to conclude definite is that on the contribution to the mid-year review of the budget, our core exercise is oversight. I think that Monday, Tuesday be dedicated to ranking and members. Then on Wednesday, myself and him can wind up. Then we get it sealed that particular day. That is what I would urge him to agree to. Because we must give room. Sometimes members complain that they never really get recognized. But I know in a COVID environment and voter register, not all our colleagues will be here. But at least in principle, we should agree to Monday, Tuesday, then the leaders can wind up. But it's true that we said that we may have to sit until 10th of August to be able to get the instruments to mature. And then, Mr. Speaker, I urge him at the business committee that he should let us know what is truly urgent. What is truly urgent in terms of the bills. Like now, after this statement, we can move to consider any urgent bill, get it closed, and move on. But I was not convinced about one of it, but he argues of admissions. And I'm sure that will come back. I can reserve my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, you've ruled out the lamentations of my colleague. So, from Upper West, so I'm not going to respond to that, except to appeal to members that they know the usual resort to pursuing answers that are given to questions. So when you come and you raise issues that have nothing to do with the business statement read for a day and indeed to take effect from the ensuing week, it poses problems. But that has been the sing-song of some members of this House. It doesn't help the conduct of business. The Speaker, the issue raised by my colleague, the minority leader, with respect first to the closure of the debate on the media review and the supplementary budgets. I think we had some discussions on that. And it is the reason why I said, because as he himself is relating to, we don't know how many people will be here to participate in the debate, which is why I said, if there is space for us to close it on Tuesday, we will do so. If on the other hand, choked and we have to relocate to Wednesday, so be it. And I gave him the assurance at the business committee that yes, even though traditionally when we come to debating media reviews, we've not spent more than 2 days. I think, and I agree with him, that oversight is a responsibility of Parliament. And even if we have space and we have to extend it to 4 days, that's how it should be, in order for us to be able to really the issues that are contained in the supplementary estimates and indeed in the media review. The Speaker, so that is, I agree that if there is no space, we relocate and close it on Wednesday. That gives us, the minority leader and myself, even adequate space to respond to issues that are contained in the document that is submitted to the House. The Speaker, and I've indicated to him the urgency of those of them. We have just 2 weeks, and there are about 6 bills that various committees have worked on. But it appears that it's not possible for us to really finish all those 6, which is why I gave assurance to him that we will pick and choose the very urgent ones and deal with them. The University of Skills and Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development has occasioned the Minister of State to be here with us this morning. And Speaker, it is necessary that we conclude the transaction of business on to enable the ministry position themselves, the institute, to be able to do admission for this coming, the beginning of the academic year, and also others. The Minerals Income Investment Fund already started the consideration. The Development Financial Institutions Bill we need to finish. The Securities and Intelligence Agencies Bill we need to finish. And I think there is, and then birth and deaths. I thought we could start today, and indeed yesterday I even gave them that they should, the table of it. Yes, maybe there was a mix-up, given what we did yesterday. So it's not filled. Otherwise, I've even started the consideration. That's not a fast document. If we start in a day, even if we do Monday, we should be able to conclude it Monday. But for Monday and Tuesday, we will only do the consideration of the bills after the debate on the media review and the supplementary estimates. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The business statement as submitted is adopted accordingly. Honorable members, at the commencement of public business, item listed 5, presentation of papers. A, Chairman of the Committee on Defense and Interior. Chairman, Committee on Defense. Is the paper ready for any member to present? Yes.
Report report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill 2020.
The report is for distribution.
Mr. Speaker, even though the committee has done some work on the bill, in fact, it met on at least 3 occasions on it. I'm aware of that, and I've been part of 2 of them. But there are a few issues that need sorting out. And so, even though I recognize the member who got up as a member of the committee, I believe that in this particular instance, we now have the authority of the leadership of the committee to submit a report to Parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to plead that we don't take it now, but relate to the chairman of the committee for them to sort those matters out, and then it will be taken next week.
Very well, we'll study down. B, chairman, committee.
Yes, because so what it means is that what was purported to have been done would have to be nullified. That is in respect of 5A.
Yes, it's set aside. It's taken as not having been done, and it is also stood down for further presentation by the chairman. B, chairman, foreign affairs.
Report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the host country agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana and the African Union for the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat.
The report is submitted and is for distribution. C, local government.
Report of the Committee on Local Government and Rural Development on the African Union Charter on the values of and principles of centralization, local governance, and local development.
The report is duly presented and for distribution to honorable members. Item listed 6. Debate continues.
Mr. Speaker, we will stand that one down for the time being with item number 7.
Item 7. Minister of Education. Yes, Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Minority Chief Whip, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the item 5C, that was, I was trying to catch your eye. Mr. Speaker, the committee has not even met on it, not alone to generate a report. Yes, and the members are there. The minister, they will attest to it. They've not even yet met, not alone to generate a report. That is the 5C, the report of the Committee on Local Government and Rural Development on the African Union Charter on the values and principles of decentralization, local governance, and local development. They've not even met. So, Mr. Speaker, let's get them to meet, and when they have some report, we can lay it. But they've not yet met, not consider having a report. Yet a report is being purported to be late. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to believe that to be just in line with the 5A, we need to annul this.
5A, B, C, not ready.
No, 5B is ready. Because 5B, a colleague from the
A and 5C.
5A and B, A and C are not ready.
A
And C.
A and C not ready, therefore not submitted. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, indeed and in truth, I'm not aware of the status of 5C. But a member got up and laid a document on behalf of the committee. If you can hear from him, I'm not a member of the committee. And I'm not also sure that the minority chief whip is a member of the committee. Let's inquire from the person who laid the document. If indeed they have met, If they haven't, then you have to do what is right in this circumstance.
To err on the side of caution, we wait and see. So, yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. The committee met, and when we were considering the birth and death registration bill, we actually discussed it briefly, and we are yet to meet and then discuss it fully, and then submit our reports.
Honorable Ye Chile.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. When we were discussing the birth and death registry, the paper was circulated. We were scheduled to meet on yesterday. No meeting was called. If it was called, I was not invited. At that meeting, nothing was discussed about this charter. What is that? Why are you lying? It's not good.
Honorable members, let me rule. This matter will be stood down. The chairman will speak on this on the next adjourned date. It is not admitted. Let's just wait. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Vice Chairman says that there was some meeting. The member for Wild West is saying that, well, if there was a meeting, he was not there. And the Vice Chairman also adds that whatever was discussed was not concluded, which means that the report cannot be presented to the House. And that being the case, for the member of Wild Central, Wild West, to get up and say that the member is lying, just because he's impugning the integrity of the man, has already even said that there was no conclusive. So the report cannot. So the report cannot be made. So when he gets up to say that he's lying, Mr. Speaker, that is an unfortunate statement from a senior member of the House.
The word lied impugns motive. It is expunged. This matter will be dealt with on the next agenda date. Thank you very much. Shall we make progress on the next item? Item listed 7 of education. Item listed 7. Minister of Education.
I rise to move motion number 7 on page 3 of today's order paper, that the University of Skills Training Entrepreneurial Development Bill 2020 be now read a second time. In so doing, I give a brief background to this. The object of the bill is to establish the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development as a public tertiary institution to be an outstanding, internationally acclaimed educational institution dedicated to the training of teachers with the relevant competence for teaching in technical and vocational education and training institutes. An effective and efficient technical and vocational education and training system is critical for national development. The bill is thus provides the legal framework for the establishment of the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, with a focus on providing a holistic training for teachers to equip the teacher with the requisite skills that meet the needs, technical and vocational educational training system of the country. While there are many public universities in existence that offer courses and programs in varying subjects, there is no public university dedicated to the training of teachers with the requisite knowledge, skills, and aptitudes to train students in technical and vocational education. The establishment of the university would therefore bring into focus the relevance of technical and vocational education and training to national development and the need to achieve excellence in that regard. The proposed university will develop to the level of awarding doctorate degrees in technical and vocational education and training, thereby providing a workforce with the requisite skills. This will undoubtedly increase productivity, encourage investments as well, reduce government, and improve upon the socio-economic sector of the country. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Move. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I present your committee's report. And I'll humbly ask the Hansa Department to capture the whole report as having been read, whilst I read only parts of it. Mr. Speaker, the background has been given by the Minister, so I go on to page 3, item 4, object of the bill. The purpose of the bill is to establish the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development as a public tertiary institution. The university is to be an outstanding, internationally acclaimed educational institution dedicated to the training of teachers to equip them with the relevant competence for teaching in technical and vocational education and training institutions. The content of the bill comprises 45 clauses and is divided into 5 sections under the headings: establishment of the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, that's clauses 1 to 4, governance of the university, clauses 5, administrative provisions, clauses 13 to 26, financial matters, clauses 27 to 32, miscellaneous matters, clauses 33 to 45. The Speaker, a few observations. On page 7, transformation of TVET education. The committee observed that the initiative taken by the government to transform and make TVET more relevant to the nation's current circumstances is a step in the right direction. The committee noted that various efforts have been made by successive governments to equip the youth with employable skills through TVET. That notwithstanding, TVET graduates are unable to gain employment in the formal sector, often. That notwithstanding, TVET graduates who are unable to gain employment in the formal sector often find it difficult to set up and grow their own businesses as a result of the lack of entrepreneurial skills required to function in today's globalized and competitive world. The committee noted that as part of its core mandate, the individual.
Chairman, we've all got a reading from your committee report. So if you just summarize for us.
The Speaker, rightly so, I take a cue. So I'll go to a conclusion. So conclusion and recommendation. Undoubtedly, the establishment of the University of Training and Entrepreneurial Development will help train graduates to equip them with knowledge and skills that will enable them remain relevant, competitive, responsive, and functional within the complexities of today's technological world. The university, when established, will serve as an important vehicle for the transformation of TVET as the centerpiece of Ghana's educational system. In the light of the above, the committee recommends to the House to adopt this on the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development Bill 2020. As we submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Yes, Honorable Yerichi.
Mr. Speaker, thank you much for the opportunity to also support the motion. And in doing so, I think that this particular institution that we want to establish will help Ghana develop the skills of those people who are gifted and talented, but who need to be trained, who need to be developed. And as the name of the university shows, it clearly is something that you can't just say that the person is talented, he is good, and he can just do things. Countries take time to train into entrepreneurial development. They do so give the skills, and if you give the skills and they're not entrepreneurs, you don't train them to be entrepreneurs, obviously you are not helping this nation. Of course, the reasons also are not far-fetched. If you look at the vocational training, vocational schools, technical schools that we have, there must be an apex body that is training people for this. A university that is training teachers to be able to also train these people at the various levels, and not just the traditional universities. I also, as the issue is raised, this is a campus of the University of the Education Winneba, which is now being set to the university status, and it's very important with the kind of development and locations and difficulties sometimes associated with university administration. It is good that this university is established to target particularly the areas that have been injured. I think also that in the past, last minute, the tendency was for us to introduce a name other than what is here. I also want to say that at this stage, I am going to move a motion also for us to name this university Akenting Apiemanga, an industrialist, a lawyer, statesman, and many things. Because fortunately, nobody will say, oh, he doesn't come from here. The campus, the main campus is in Ashanti region. So it shouldn't be a matter. But I think that this is the best time to honor such a person in this regard. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to also make a little statement to support the motion numbered 7 today. Mr. Speaker, I will humbly dwell on the paragraph E, that is synergies between the university and the industry. It is quite evident, Mr. Speaker, that that gap still exists in industry sector. Mr. Speaker, it will surprise you to know, as of today, when we want even a plumber to do your industrial work, you then figuring out whether the person is qualified or competent or whatever. But I believe that with the establishment of this institution or this university, it will train people to train them and certify them for the industrial requirement of this nation. Mr. Speaker, I will also want to say a little thing in respect of the contribution made by my senior Yelichire. Apia Menka has contributed so much in industry through Association of Ghana Industries and the nation as a whole, as an entrepreneur, as an industrialist, and as a lawyer. I believe that qualifying and granting him that opportunity for us to name the university after him will do this nation a great deal by, encouraging other industrialists to do more for this nation. Mr. Speaker, this university is quite timely now for us as Parliament to do something to support the establishment of it. I will say that TVET education is one of the critical hubs that it needs to push our industrialization agenda as a whole. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I will want to encourage my colleagues also to support this motion before this House. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Minority Leadership.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I equally rise to support the motion before us and to say that, Mr. Speaker, this is a very important institution that we intend to create. And Mr. Speaker, just want to draw the attention of the House and that of the Minister that remember the campus that we are hoping to use, Kumasi Winneba campus, is part of the act that established the University of Winneba. So it will be, it's part of the act, that campus is part of it. So it is important that we look at it. I'm sure of it. First Vice Speaker is doubting whether that is the case. I'm not sure about that, but just check. If that is so, it is important to amend that act to seed off this campus so that you don't end up having it in the law, part of the law, that of the act. The Kumasi campus is part of the General Universities of Winneba Act.
Honorable, my first Deputy Speaker, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just wish to correct the impression created the Minority Chief Whip. The Kumasi campus is one of the campuses listed as part of the University College of Education. Listed. University of, yes. So all we need to do is to take that on our by amendment, as suggested. But it's not, the other way around is part of the law. It's just an annexure which can be taken on. But it's important to recognize that indeed that university or that campus was a technical teachers education college. It was set up to train teachers to teach technical courses. Over the years, it was made part of the university, and the technical part appears to have disappeared. But indeed, my problem really... Oh, you're not finished. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry. I thought he had finished.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So let's begin the same. Well, once it's part of the list, it's part of the act. So we hope that the minister will take steps to take it off the list. The Speaker, this is a very important institution that we want to create. And so long as we keep doing what we've been doing, it will not end up achieving the purpose for which we want to establish it. That's what we've been doing for the past 30 years. And I'm sure the good professor is very much conversant with the trend in our country. We know very well that in the 80s, we decided to establish the junior high schools with the hope that by the time people finish the junior schools, they will have some skills in their hands. Mr. Speaker, this intention was very good. We started, we didn't provide the necessary equipment and facilities. Now, the junior high schools, which is JSS, as it used to be called, it's now come to do virtually what we are doing at time to go to class 1 to 6, do Form 1 to Form 4, write middle school certificate, go to secondary school, and it has become like the previous one. And the main objectives have been defeated because people still come out of the junior high schools and sometimes with very difficulty to even identify the tools, apart from seeing them in pictures. The Speaker, like the First Deputy Speaker, my colleague from Bepai, Honorable Osewusu, was saying, this campus originally was meant to train teachers in technical education. When they are completed, they can then go and impact on the younger ones in terms of skills development. Mr. Speaker, the same reason made it fail, because the necessary equipment that needed to be established on those campuses were not there. So they ended up just doing the theory, reading, and when they finished, they themselves, the teachers, have not seen even the tools, not alone to be able to impact it on the younger ones. So, Mr. Speaker, if by simply changing equipping it very well, we will still say maybe in 10 years, 20 years, come and give it another name, and it will still give us the same. I mean, it is said by Einstein that you cannot be doing the same thing and expect a different result. So it is our hope that, Mr. Speaker, government and this House will play an effective oversight to ensure that the purpose for which we are establishing this university is truly achieved. Mr. Speaker, one country that has done this so well is Germany. Germany has so well that it is not the certificate that you have that determines how much or your skill, where you are placed. It is how useful you are to the society. That determines how much you earn. Mr. Speaker, so long as we keep doing our profiling of level of importance, level of grading, of salary and what have you, based on PhD, masters, first, and what have you, Mr. Speaker, we will continue to have this problem because the bottom line is that why will a plumber who is so well versed in plumbing, well skilled, be paid pittance ahead of someone who had just finished, like myself, masters in development policy and planning? If you do that, everybody will want to do the masters in development policy and planning. Everybody will want to go and do the PhD. Everybody will want to go and do the law. Everybody will want to do other things. And then today, Mr. Speaker, we all will attest, everybody in this house who have made an attempt to build a house will attest to one fact, Mr. Speaker. If you want a very good person who can do POP, you tiling, very effective plumbing to give you the design of the plumbing in your house, then you have to get a Togolese or a Benoit. But not a Ghanaian. If you want a very good carpenter who can do very effective carpentry, electricals with the map, because now the law by the, I think, the Minister of Energy is that when you finish the house, the electrical plan, the plumbing plan must be given to a landlord. So that when there's a problem, he will know when another person comes, he will be able to track where the lines are. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, if you rely on our artisans, they cannot even do all the drawing. They'll tell you how will be true. Meaning everything is in my head. Mr. Speaker, you and I know that that is not proper training. We have the lack of KTI, Kumasi Technical Institute, and many others that are training our graduates. All they do now is to just aim at also writing the WASI and go to university. You have the Polytechnic before. The intention was to develop skills. Now they all ended up doing the humanities because it is very less costly to do the training and it's more what we call it, profitable, because the humanities is just talking, no practical thing. So the fees, if you look at the difference, I mean, everybody on campus, Mr. Speaker, you yourself were a lecturer, you will know in every university, it is the humanities that gives more money to support the technical end. So if you go to KN University, for example, the cost of training, say, a medical student, the cost of an engineering student, the cost of training, say, an agri student, and what have you, far higher than the cost of training a business student. Meanwhile, the fees that is taken from the business school is supposed to complement the others to be able to get a societal balance. Now, because the business school is giving more money, they admit more and admit very few who do have the equipment to go through the proper training. Mr. Speaker, it is my hope that this good initiative will be supported with the necessary infrastructure to be able to provide the true training. Because, Mr. Speaker, so long as we continue to now engage our neighboring countries' citizens to do these jobs in our homes, unemployment in our country will never end. Because how many spaces can you create for PhD holders? And now you see people who are even working, they still public time, simply because they believe that the only way they can climb up is they must have PhD, they must have masters, they must have what have you. Not necessarily the things that will change our society and improve our economic situation. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very laudable initiative. But like I said, if it's not supported by the necessary infrastructure, it will come back. Let me add, the suggestion by my colleague, Honorable Yelitse, I think it is most appropriate. A former member of parliament, a former industrialist, even though he's past and gone. My uncle, Apia Menka, Mr. Speaker, has been one of the early industrialists in our country. I remember the Apuno soap very well. I have hawked it in Kumasi, sell it. It was a common name. Unfortunately, today, many of their industrialists are struggling and they import their, most of their raw material, and sometimes employs import skills. There was a discussion on Joy FM, and McDonald was on that, and then there was one other professor who are industrialists. And when they talk about their experience, the attitude, the right training, to the extent that today they are picking Indians, others to come into our country to work because the skills that is required cannot be found. It's just not there. So even if you want to employ, you are having difficulty because the kind of skills that you need is not there. Meanwhile, we have so many young people who are struggling with food and sleep. So, Mr. Speaker, with this comment, it is hope that the minister will take all the contributions that are coming on board and make sure that when, by the grace of God, this institution gets established, we do what is right to change the face of technical education in our country once and for all. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to have contributed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, Chapter 6 of our Constitution, under the directive principles of state policy, Article 38, Clause 3B. Mr. Speaker, I read, a free adult literacy program. The state shall, let me read from the beginning, the state shall, subject to the availability of resources, provide a free adult literacy program and a free vocational training. And a free vocational training, that is where I want to end. Mr. Speaker, it therefore means that flowing from our own directive principles of what state policy, what we are doing is in the right direction. And I also want to state that in the history of post-independence of Ghana, we've been able to put out institutions at the pre-tertiary level to directly train people vocational technical education. The other universities also have trainings for technical and technology as well, but we don't have a university that is well tailored to train teachers to come and also train others. Mr. Speaker, the informal sector today, a lot of work is going on in the informal sector, the vocational sector, especially in technical aspects. Mr. Speaker, a typical example is I've been able to develop face mask that we are locally today. You can seamstresses and tailors, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, have developed, and we can really say today that locally we are producing those face masks for us not going to import those activities. Mr. Speaker, the other aspect the university to do is to train our people to link whatever do and commercialize what they do. That gap between making sure that the knowledge that we have in terms of skills and also trying to tailor it and commercialize it such that there will be mass production and productivity to enhance whatever we want to achieve is very, very important. Mr. Speaker, such a university we are also expecting that should have a route for the masters, those and mistresses. Today, we have the masters and mistresses who are informally training most of our youth today. Not been them, a lot of these young ones would have been on the street. How do we link them also? Maybe weekend or training to get those who are mistresses and masters today to have access to this university that we are putting up. As it has been said, we want this university to have all the technical equipment and everything that they needed to ensure that we are really training our people to come out and train us as well. But how do we do that link? That those who are master trainers and then mistresses, how do we get them along the line to also be able to have access to those institutions is also very important. And once we move on, the world is moving, it's so globalized. Technology is so advanced. How do we build such a class of Ghanaians who will also move their thinking along and make sure that this country move forward? The middle level, the informal level, is really employing a lot of people. Mr. Speaker, such an institute will be able to bring them up and develop. Mr. Speaker, the name of the university really has to be named after Apia Menka. Mr. Speaker, when we do that, I don't think we've done anything wrong. Apia Menka is all-rounded person. Mr. Apia Menka was a trained lawyer. Mr. Speaker, at the age of 32 years, he was the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry under Professor Buzia's government, an astute politician at that level. Mr. Speaker, Apia Menka was a sports city as well, a football administrator. Apia Menka, as an industrialist already said, Mr. Speaker, after the overthrow of Buzia, Apia Menka entered into farming, specifically oil palm production, and also expanded it into soap production called Apino soap. Mr. Speaker, Apia Menka was also recognized by the African Business Forum as a renowned industrialist. Such a person, when the name is put, the university is named after him, I think that he met. Mr. Speaker, especially the name alone will even motivate and encourage others that going into industry and making sure that Ghana economy grows is very, very important. Just for also to remind members that we all remember when his product we were told to boycott his product, Mr. Speaker, and that did not put off. That is a fact. That did not put him off. He's resilient, even just after such pronouncement, and making sure that he continues to surge forward. It's a spirited effort that we must also emulate and learn from.
And in conclusion,
Mr. Speaker, also to say that UDS had the WA campus. WA campus was strategically carved out as a university, and therefore I think that what the minority chief whip raised can easily be sorted out, that we can get an university to train our teachers to also come and train our young ones. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Whip. Honorable members of the conclusion of the debate. All those in favor of the... first, Deputy Speaker, please.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much. Just to make a short contribution to the debate. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking at the report, page 9, paragraph E, and it says, "See among the university, industry, and the community." The most critical part, in my view, of the report and the suggestion. And I read it, very important. As of its mandate, the university will create the right synergies with industry and the community. The synergy to ensure that the type and quality of training given by the university responds adequately to the needs of industry and the community, and thus make graduates of the university highly employable place to establish their own businesses. I think the most critical part of the report and the intentions setting up the university, in my view, is this part. Mr. Speaker, anybody who has bought a door built by a Ghanaian carpenter, you will find that in instances you will need to add your shoulder to be able to close the door after it's been installed. Often, a part is not fitting firmly. It is because, Mr. Speaker, we have not set standards by which we measure products made in this. I'm making it simpler. Whilst we are preparing to train people, we should work with what standards are we training them to? What quality of products? And I encourage the investment sector to work with the Ghana Standards Authority to design and implement standards for things that are locally manufactured, so that the training will bring people in. The Speaker, I read somewhere that in the UK, unless you trained and certified, you can't even fix a door. When the door has been made elsewhere, you can't fix it without the appropriate certification. That is the kind of training which will make the locally trained people have premium. Now, anybody purports to do every or anything, and therefore their quality is compromised and it affects all of them. If we set and train people according to standards, then their charge will be based on the premium. I have procured people to do something locally, and after that you can use it. This face mask, when the pandemic broke, I went out and said, every tailor or seamstress, make face masks, I'll buy them. About 1/5 of them, we can use it, even though it doesn't cover the nose and the mouth. But frankly, blame anybody, because I did not provide any standard. There was no standard they were to make them to. That's the kind of training I think we should focus on. That the training that trains people to work to standards, and standards that are enforced, to ensure that when we say this is a made in Ghana product, you know that the standard to which that has been made can be measured, and that will be the best. Mr. Speaker, lastly, I want to suggest that if it is possible, decouple the entrepreneurship. Decouple the entrepreneurship. It will overrun the others. The entrepreneurship is the easiest part, reading, and it will overrun the others. In place of entrepreneurship, I suggest we put in ethics. Good work values, good ethics as part of the technical training. It will help them to be better managers of their own. I'm afraid, so far, practically all the polytechnics have been overrun by procurement, marketing, and those others, rather than the main reason for taking up the polytechnics. Now, they no longer represent technical training. Very few technical training is happening at all the technical universities. I pray I will consider and decouple the entrepreneurship from it, and let it be technical. People trained to have values and ethics and value themselves and their product. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, First Deputy Speaker, Honorable, for your contribution. At the conclusion of the debate, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Act to establish the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development and to provide for related matters.
The University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development Bill 2020 is accordingly read the second time. And the Honorable Minister being present, once more, let us emphasize that it is not the intention of this Honorable House to establish another liberal arts university. And in fact, the Honorable Minister being invested down himself, we want to ensure that we do not adopt the formalized academic approach to this matter, and the kind of certificate awarded by way of certificates, diplomas, and diplomas are more suitable to skill training than BA and MA. The moment these come in, the whole becomes academic and the emphasis on skills is misplaced. And if it becomes just academic, then you will find people who may have a technical degree, but who cannot even fix a bolt. And this is very, very important because, honorable members, as we provide for all manner of provisions for local content in our various industries, including the oil industry, today it is very difficult to have Ghanaians who are experts in mere bolts and nuts. You may check, you'll find it to be true. Bolts, nuts. How do we manufacture them here? We import them. How do we fix them in technical areas as the in oil industry, where you need a lot of specificity? You cannot admit only guesses. Therefore, you will find that many of these companies import skilled labor from other countries. And it is therefore high time we took a look at this. If we go and employ you for masters in arts, doctorate in liberal arts, I don't want to mention subjects, and we don't take care, the emphasis will be skewed and will have done nothing. That is the view of this Honorable House. Thank you very much. Honorable Majority Leader, where do we move from here?
Speaker, we should be moving to various mosques from here. And so I would want to enjoin us to take a break and indeed take an adjournment in order for our brothers, the Muslims, to have this last worship hour before the Eid al-Adha, Big Friday. So, Speaker, again, there are a few things that we need to tidy with the table officers. So I will be that we adjourn. And for those of them who would also be contributing on Monday to the debate, to have ample time to go and prepare. So Monday we can do a good job. So with that, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn until Monday at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I so move.
Honorable Minority Leader.
I speak to second the motion for adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member, the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. This Honorable House will stand adjourned till Monday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Thank you very much, members, and have a good weekend.